Hello. Did you want pictures here or? Yes, okay. Sure, okay. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind being in the middle, perfect. That would be great. Thank you so much. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. One more. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's get a shot of you two guys. Can I fit these two guys in here as well? Going up there. There you go. Thank you. All right, ready? Here we go. Great, one more shot. Take a shot with me, please. Out here, and would you take a shot with me? Thank you. I never get in the pictures.
You never get
Thank you so much for letting me do this. Thank you, Adam. Thank you so much. Perfect, I'm sure. Yep, perfect.
Oh, I thought you were going to. We're going to.
So how much drool is left on the floor in front of Kai's place? Did you want me to take a picture of the two of you with that?
He might take a picture.
Oh, good. All right. Come on. I'll send you the ones I took, but... Yep, here we go. Ready? It's a video. Sorry. It's a video. How do you make it? Sorry, I don't know how to make it a photo. Thank you. Okay, we got it. Great. There you go.
So it's about 10 to...
It's on. Yeah, it's been going the whole time. It's been going for 15 minutes.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
I have a little technical difficulties, but I will talk like this until we get them working. I just want to say, oh my gosh, what an amazing performance by everybody up here on the screen and by the man sitting 3 rows up. Let's give it up, Douglas Busby. I had only seen this on DVD, and I have to tell you, I don't know about anybody else, but seeing it on this big screen, oh my gosh. So I just feel so, Stephen and myself feel so lucky to be a part of tonight. Test it now. Check. Test. Give it a minute or two. We'll be welcoming you guys to the stage in just a minute. So for right now, I do want to welcome our moderator for tonight, who is the other gentleman here in the pink Filmmakers Gallery shirt. Still trying to get them working. Okay, so I'll have to just use my outside voice. So Stephen Roach has worked in the entertainment industry as an art director, a literary manager, post-production company owner, and writer and producer. He served on the board of the IDA, which is International Documentary Association, and was the vice president and produced the annual Oscar nominees reception for the Motion Picture Academy. You got it working?
Wait, on.
Got it? And the annual IDA Awards. So there we go. So did you guys hear that much so far? Should I repeat? You guys got it.
Don't.
Okay. So without further ado, your moderator for this evening, my husband and partner in crime, Stephen Roach. Let's give it up for Stephen Roach.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for being patient while we straighten out.
There's always technical difficulties, right?
Difficulties.
At home, in your car, in the theater. So thank you for being patient. So I'm going to lay this down for our guests. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you, guys. So first up, I want to introduce Douglas Sosby, the screenwriter. He was a story editor for Universal Pictures, later moved to TriStar, where he was also a story editor, and was awarded a 3-picture writing deal at TriStar. He did uncredited rewrites on such films as Chances Are and Blind Fury, and returned to Universal as a story analyst until his retirement in 2019. Douglas published 2 novels, Children in a Burning House, a mystery published by Knight Press, and Screenplay, a horror novel published by Berkeley. He has sole screenwriting credit on 4 television cable films and was the sole writer, of course, on Boulevard. So come on down, Douglas. Next up, Jeffrey Gelber is an LA-based writer and producer. In addition to Boulevard, he has spent the past decade developing numerous feature and television projects for both independent and major studios, including Netflix, Paramount, Amazon, and Universal. Previously, Jeffrey served as a director of casting on at Universal Pictures, overseeing the casting for dozens of feature films, including this is great, the Despicable Me franchise, Fast and Furious franchise, and the Bourne franchise. So, Jeffrey Gelber, come on down. And we're very honored to have Kathy. Kathy's back here.
She'll be right here. She'll be right here.
So I'll introduce you while Kathy's on her way back. So Kathy is, of course, a celebrated stage, screen, and television actress. She's won 3 Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe, and a Screen Actors Guild Award for her work on the CBS series Picket Fences, which we love. She received additional Emmy nominations for guest performances on Touched by an Angel and Boston Public, and got a nomination as Best Supporting Actress in a miniseries or movie for Door to Door. Has anybody seen Door to Door? It's one of my favorite TV movies. No? Have you seen Door to Door?
I haven't even seen Door to Door.
Door to Door is happening. She made her feature film debut in The Right Stuff in 1983, and she went on to star in such notable films as Street Smart, where she won the National Society of Film Critics Best Supporting Actress Award, Clean and Sober, Edward Scissorhands, The Cider House Rules, Screen Actors Guild Award nomination for Outstanding Performance by a Cast, Cold Mountain, Saving Mr. Banks, The Art of Racing in the Rain, The Age of Adeline, and 13 Going on 30, among many others. She currently stars in the Peacock series Teacup. Has anybody seen Teacup yet? It just debuted like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's really good. You should catch Teacup. And her other television credits include the AMC series Orphan Black Echoes, as well as the HBO film Paterno, opposite Al Pacino, Netflix's The Ranch, and True TV's I'm Sorry. That was a great series. Kathy began her career on the stage and has starred in numerous acclaimed productions, including collaborating with renowned playwright Sam Shepard in plays such as Fool for Love, for which she and Ed Harris won Obie Awards for their performances, Curse of the Starving Class, and Seduced. So, we should get back to start. So, this is great. So we'll start with the screenwriter, the producer, and then the actress. So, how did you get the idea for Boulevard? Where did that come from?
Well, first of all, thank you for coming, and I see so many friends here, and I really appreciate it. It's very moving watching this, it really is.
Especially on the big screen, like
on the big screen with people that I care so much about. A lot of it is biographical, but you fictionalize it. You take elements of your life and put them in a more dramatic situation. I came out very late and clumsily, sort of like Nolan. I wasn't married. I did develop an intense infatuation with someone like Leo. It wasn't that kind of a situation, but similar. And it was right after my mother died. That's why I put in the whole business of his mother had died just recently, because I think that was the catalyst for him having to face, he'd hidden so much of his life from his parents, from everyone he knew, really. He had manufactured this identity and was living kind of like a shell. And that's what Robin is so brilliant at, conveying that, and yet still being interesting as an actor and as a human being. So I took that situation and wrote the script really quickly. It was almost exactly 20 years ago, in 2005. And it got a lot of attention at Universal. And then my great friend, Jeff Delbert, is really the one who got it going and placed it. And Jeff got Robin, and Jeff got Kathy, and everybody, and Ditto, the director. And by the way, Ditto Montiel would love to have been here tonight, but he had another commitment, so we do miss him. So that's sort of the origin of it. Here's the wonderful Kathy Baker.
Sorry, a girl's gotta pee.
You've been driving for 2 hours.
Yes, I've been trying.
So that's where it came from. It's taking elements of my life and putting them together in a fictionalized version. And the original script was a lot different than what we ended up making. In the original script, Nolan was a college professor, and Winston also was, as he is in this one, a professor. And we changed that because there was a movie at the time, what was it called?
A Single Man.
A Single Man. And we didn't want it to be too much like that, so we changed it to The Bank. And it was better because then we could give him a sort of a homophobic boss and kind of create more of the conflict. So that's where it came from.
And love your dialogue too. It's obviously very dialogue rich.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Particularly when it's spoken by people like Kathy Baker.
Yes. Jeffrey, tell us a little more about the process. So when you first read the screenplay and kind of where you took it from there.
Yeah, so is this on?
You gotta hold it in for a second or two, and it'll shoot up on.
Testing.
Yeah,
Hey, there we go. Yeah, so the original script Doug wrote was titled Santa Monica Boulevard, and it was very Los Angeles centric. And it was kind of a celebrity of scripts. Doug and I worked together for about 10 years at Universal Pictures. And, just as friends, I had read the script, and as we all did at the studio, and it was beautiful. And I watched as it had different iterations of kind of, little sputters. It was about to get going here and there. And I was just kind of always rooting it on from the sidelines. And then I was introduced to a financier who, when I asked what they were looking for, they described so many elements that Doug's script had. And, I told them they got to read this script, and they loved it. And then they, oops. Are we back? We're back. And like any financier, they wanted to know who's going to be in this movie to justify them putting out their shekels. And I went to them and I said, I'll give you a list of 5 names, and if I get one of these 5, can we go make a movie? And we got the first one. We got Robin. I was very fortunate that he had a very special representative who took the script seriously. Robin was getting offered a lot, and it's a very small movie for it, but he saw in the script, I think, what we all saw, and we got Ditto on pretty quickly after that, and then Kathy, and we were off to the races, and it was easy,
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So how long was the shooting schedule, actually?
I think we were about 23 days.
In Nashville.
It was in Nashville. It was, I mean, that was, you know, we didn't have a big budget, and that was part of finding a filmmaker, is we needed somebody who could shoot this really quick. We had some, people responded to the script. I mean, it was a big deal, and we had some really cool people that had raised their hands, but it's like the Oscars. They gotta use this microphone. Forget how I yell. So, you know, we got Ditto because Ditto's a hustler, and he can shoot quick, and he's tremendous with actors. But it was a you know, it was a quick shoot. It was a lot. I mean, I can't imagine as an actor on that set, and I mean that. Like Doug, I mean, I haven't seen this movie on the screen in 10 years, and seeing Kathy and Robin in that last scene in particular is just wild. And I can't imagine how, you know, you got to prep and shoot, and we did that. Was that all in one night?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So we asked a lot of our cast in that one.
And that's that. Thank you. And Kathy, how did you get involved with, you know, from first reading the screenplay?
Yes. Is this working?
Use Doug's. Good idea.
Thank you.
Somebody should bury her.
Okay, so this one's working. Yeah, so I got sent a script, but not as an offer. I had to sort of prove myself. I don't suppose I was on the list of those 5 people, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, I got sent the script. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. Anybody would kill to play the part. And then they told me to go to my agents, and meet you. I thought you were a big deal, and then turns out you're not. Yeah, so and then Ryan, his writing partner, was filming the whole time, and you read with me. You read very well, by the way.
Thank you.
And we read every single scene that I was in. And Ryan filmed it, and I guess sent it to everybody who needed to say yes. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
You really had to do every scene?
I had to do, I mean, can you believe?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's okay.
Wow.
That's how it goes in show business.
Were you just like sitting there, or were you actually moving?
No, I was sitting still, and you were sitting opposite me.
Yeah.
It was
Couldn't
very
tell with
weird.
one scene.
It was a little weird, I have to say, it was a little odd. Because usually you're either with the casting director and you get to actually work on a scene and do maybe one scene, or, yeah, why did you do it that way?
Ditto Montiel is the director of this film. And, you know, it was, Ditto came on and Robin was already cast in the role. And this was obviously the most significant piece of the puzzle to put in there. And he was just very, very particular. And, you know, some of us were already prepared to throw the offer out, and some people just need to see it to believe it. And he was one of them. But Kathy was, yes. Generally, people of Kathy's stature do not have to come in and read for a ton of roles. But sometimes a filmmaker might feel like there's just something extra that they need to see. And, you know, she hasn't let me forget about it.
It sounds like Robin had the final say then.
No.
Or was
No.
that number 2?
Robin was so cool. Like, he didn't, I mean, Robin loved the role. Robin loved the script, and Robin loved all of us, and he trusted everybody. And kind of like when I gave the financiers a list of actors for Nolan, we did go to Robin because we didn't want to tell him, you're, playing opposite somebody that maybe there's some odd history with, or, and we gave him a short list as well, and he was fine with everyone and trusted the filmmaker. So it was, again, Robin was, he was great.
Excellent. So, why don't we open it up for questions from the audience? You guys have a question? I can pass one. Anybody have any questions for Kathy, Jeffrey, or Douglas? Somebody must have a question.
I have one.
Okay.
Kathy, what was it like to work with Robin as far as getting to know him? How was he easy to work with, as it seems he would be?
He was incredibly easy to work with. I think we all agree. Kathy, you want to talk about acting with him?
Sure. Yeah, he was just heaven. He wasn't the sort of manic, funny Robin that we all think of. I think he was in character, and I think he took this very seriously. He was a serious actor, obviously, and he took this very seriously. And he was just there. He was present. He was professional. He was ready. We never had to wait for him, or he always knew his lines.
And he's in every scene in the movie.
Is he? Yeah. So he was wonderful. Can we tell the folks the coincidence?
Oh, yeah, tell them, yeah.
Yeah, what's that?
Okay, so we get there to Nashville, and we shot the whole thing in a house. And the house belonged to a couple about our age. And guess what? They were living exactly the life
No.
of the movie.
No.
No way.
Exactly. Isn't
No.
that amazing?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But they were more open about it, obviously. That, our characters were buttoned up about it, but they were very open about it, and they'd been through various stages of issues in their relationship, and they wanted to be together. They had kids, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had kids, yeah. But it was, and they looked kind of like us. Yeah, didn't they? Yeah. It was meant to be, right?
Wow.
Just want to add that then, as we started filming, because it was their house, they were on the premises for a lot of the filming, and they started thinking it was their life story, right?
Oh.
And we got to the big confrontation scene, and didn't she say to you, "That isn't how we did it," or something? This is not your life story.
I have a question for Doug, screenwriter. Do you ponder in your mind, like if you were to add on to the story, if they become friends after he carries on, if Kathy's character makes kind of amends and they become best friends? That's what my mind kind of contemplates.
Maybe you should repeat the question.
The question was, have I thought what goes on beyond the end of the film? Would Nolan and Joy come back together as friends, and would they stay in each other's life? I think so. They really love each other. I mean, what I tried to do is I didn't want to write a wife that was horrible and he had to get away from this awful. I wanted to write a real woman, a real tender, smart woman, and they were really in love in their own way. It just wasn't intimate.
Rejection.
And I have a feeling it was intimate when they first met. But Nolan was so, as I said earlier, was so uncertain of his own identity that he just moved away from it, and they were just living this companionate life, watching documentaries, sharing, that opening scene when they're talking about the book. Did you enjoy this book? Oh, I read this review, and they had a happy life. And that brings up another point. I'm an old guy. A lot of the younger reviewers couldn't understand why he didn't come out. Well, it's never easy to come out, but let me tell you, back in the 50s and 60s, it was really difficult. There was so much prejudice, and it was all in pre-Stonewall, and I think people said, well, why was it so difficult for him to come out? Because he really had a good life, you know? The only thing missing was he couldn't be his authentic self in terms of his feelings, but they had a good life together, and he had to give up so much to come out.
I think that the other thing is the father rejected him when he wouldn't drink out of
Yes.
the straw,
Mhm.
which explains that. That's
Yeah.
one thing, I think. why-
That little monologue is right out of my own life. Oh, yeah. Not the father rejection, but the whole trip to the beach when I was 12, and we stayed at a hotel. And so when I watched that, I was saying to my friend Susan back there, that it was such a trip watching that. And Ditto even used childhood pictures of me that he put on the dresser
Oh.
in your bedroom. So I'm watching it and I'm seeing a picture of me at 6 years old. And it's just,
Wow.
I can't explain how bizarre it is to watch it. But anyway.
Does anybody have, over here, another question?
Hi, I'm Johnny. First of all, Kathy, great performance.
Thank you.
Like, really great.
Yeah, really.
I'd like to say if Robin was here, I'd be saying the same thing to him. As I was watching the film, I kept thinking, because I follow the awards like everybody, did this film get nominated for stuff and I just don't remember? The performance, I mean, Robin's, I think it's one of his best. And I'm a huge fan, obviously.
He should have received a Best Actor Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I kept thinking, did I miss this? When I was watching the scenes and I didn't realize this movie was going to be so powerful and so well acted. So I would like to say congratulations to all of you.
Mhm.
I'm a huge Robin Williams fan, it's probably the reason I became an actor, growing up with him and working in India and all of that. And I just, I have to say, I think it's one of my favorites, which says a lot from
Thank you very
someone like you.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations, all of you.
Thank you. I think, you know, unfortunately it costs money to really kind of push these films and, you know, for award season and whatnot, but I mean, I feel the same way. I think if, you know, I really wish we had that push. I see no world where Kathy wouldn't have at least been nominated.
Right,
It's-
I've seen films where
absolutely,
the
yeah.
performances were not that great and got nominated.
Yeah,
It's,
It's the
it's
game.
political and it's economical,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Unless I'm mistaken, and Douglas and I talked about it a little bit, wasn't the original release window very limited? Like, it was only in theaters, maybe?
It was
A
released in theaters for 2 weeks in July, and they released it in July, right in the middle of summer. This is not a July movie.
Shoot.
And like Jeff said, they just didn't get behind it. The people who financed it, they didn't send out screeners or anything, you know.
Wow.
One funny thing I must say about filming in Nashville, the reason we filmed in Nashville is you get a tax incentive toward the budget. And I don't think we're welcome in Nashville, are we? Because didn't they tell the city council that it was a little family movie with Robin Williams? And then when they found out what it was, I think there was some debate in the city council, I understand.
we made it through.
Another question?
I want to thank two of you. For writing the line and the way you put the line out there. I don't want the real world, that's why I married you. I thought that was the most powerful thing in the whole thing. And the fact that there was no actual sex, really, it's a story that could go to any coupling. Where one's fallen off for whatever reason. Although yes, it is a gay storyline, I found that a lot of these things would work, whereas many gay stories, they're very specific things that, you know, well, it was very well, I love that line, really appreciate it.
That's my favorite line in the whole movie, yeah.
Beautifully done.
Yes, just beautiful. I don't know if everybody could hear. This gentleman was saying, when I say, I don't want to be in the real world, that's why I married you. Yeah, that is a great line. That's a great line, Doug.
Great.
The earlier question about where I know a lot of men my age who did get married because they couldn't bring themselves to come out and did live this life. And I think, and again, the woman's character, that's a key to that character because it's kind of an interlocking situation. There are intimacy issues that she has too, and she's with this man that has his own intimacy, and it works so well until Leo, the catalyst, comes in and disrupts everything.
So I think I told you earlier, we were watching Street Smart earlier today with Christopher Reeve, and you're in this movie with Robin Williams, and they ended up being best friends. And I just wondered if you ever connected the three of you together at some point.
No, I didn't even know. This gentleman is saying that Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve were best friends, and I didn't know. But they went to school together, didn't they? Didn't they go to Juilliard together?
College roommates.
Yeah, exactly. No, we never connected that. Robin and I we didn't really not that that's gossip, but I mean, we didn't really sort of chat so much, it seems to me. He was very quiet. Yeah, not his style, yeah. Thank you.
Pete?
Oh, yeah, tell us more about Leo and the other characters. Obviously, Leo had, some really intimate scenes with Robin Williams.
What was the question?
Tell them more about Leo. You mean about the actor or about the character, or both?
Or both.
Actually, yeah.
Well, Leo's an interesting character because as a writer, I intentionally underwrote him because I wanted him to be sort of a top of the road side, just a blank slate. And I've always felt that Nolan probably turned off his sexuality when he was about Leo's age. So not only is he attracted to Leo physically, but he's attracted to himself at that age when he could have met somebody his own age. And I felt there's something in there. So Leo is just, he can only, what I think is so sad about the ending, that last scene, is that he can only relate making the exchange through money. And Robin only wants to love him or care about him, and they just can't get over that impasse. What happens to Leo? Ditto felt that he would just move on to another city, and that may be. There might be a more tragic end. But wherever Leo goes, it's not going to be good. I don't think. I think he's kind of ruined. And I allude to his past, growing up with a terrible stepfather, and how his mother took him to that dinner, and how that was such an important memory for him. And he's clinging to that sentimental moment even then, and the restaurant reminds him of that. So even though I think I know Leo, he's intentionally sort of a cipher.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add, I think it's brilliant how you ended it with him at a restaurant diner, and just you see the back of the person he hopefully has a wonderful future with, and it just blacks out. It's just perfection. I just have to give you credit for that. That's wonderful.
Just repeat that for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm filming too.
Paul was saying he likes the way we ended the film with seeing the back of the person who's coming into the restaurant and meeting Robin, and then we never really see him or know much about him, and then we just go to black and leave it open. We were talking about the ending at lunch today, and it wasn't the ending that I originally wrote. And tonight it sort of played. I was okay. Yeah, I really liked it tonight. The original ending, I was explaining to Kathy, and the original ending was much more ambiguous, and Nolan was driving down the street, and we run that monologue that he starts here, and you just see him driving down the street, and you just know that he's going to have to start his life again, but you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Way up top?
I'd like to piggyback off of the real world comment, or real life. What do you think, as a writer, what did you intend for that to mean? And then Kathy, how did you feel, or what emotions did you bring to giving that line? Because it was very powerful.
You asked what did I mean by that last line? I don't want to be in the real world.
I want to live in the real world.
Right. and then having Kathy act that. I think it was sort of what I was saying earlier, that the situation that Nolan and Joy are in is kind of an interlocking, not neurosis, but interlocking deal in a way. She has her own intimacy issues, like I say, so she's happy to live in the unreal world because that unreal world is living with this man with whom she can be sort of intimate, but not completely intimate. That's the bargain they have that he breaks. And Kathy, one acting that.
Yeah, well, I had this whole backstory that I won't bore you with right now, but, you know, it's safe for her to live with him, and she does love him. She loves him dearly, and I love how in the scene when he lies in bed with her for that one evening where they say they love each other, and they do. And I think that's really important. I think if they didn't love each other, I don't think it would be the same story.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't actually know if I'm answering your question, but just that she was afraid. She was afraid to be with someone who would be sexual with her, maybe would leave her, maybe would abuse her, whatever. She was afraid, and her relationship with her husband was safe and gentle and kind and interesting and fun, and but he wouldn't go on a cruise because they'd have to sleep in the same
Yeah.
room unless they could afford 2 rooms. You could just see him thinking that, like, oh, wait a minute, a cruise. That's pretty intimate, a cruise. But it's funny that she's really pushing it. So
I could feel the love that they had, but I didn't feel that they communicated all that well, and so I don't think that they would have been able to have worked something out where he could have had his life and also lived with her at the same time, where they could have negotiated.
yeah, I didn't repeat this for everybody. Will you repeat that for me?
Oh,
I lost it.
just about their communication.
Uh-huh.
Just asking about their communication.
No, you say.
You want me to just repeat what he was asking? Oh, okay. And I'm 99% sure about it. That he's inquiring about their communication, how it felt like maybe there's clearly something holding you guys back from just speaking honestly, and how you'd respond to that.
Also, what I was saying earlier, I think we pick up their story at an interesting point, because his mother died about 6 months ago. He was holding his mother's hand when she died. So clearly, things started to fall apart about then for Nolan. So I think the communication is largely, like I say, watching these documentaries and talking about them and talking about books. But I think we pick things up where things are already starting to fail in terms of that bargain.
The Peter Pan syndrome they talk about? So I don't know if there's a word for the female equivalent, but I kind of feel like she doesn't want to grow up. I think is also what she's saying. She doesn't want to grow up.
Yeah.
Just that was more for your question, Michael. Yes.
How come Joy never went to go visit his father with him? Such an important part of his journey and what he was going through in life, but she just wasn't there for him.
So the question is, why didn't Joy visit Nolan's father in the hospital?
I never thought of that, but in her last fiery speech to Nolan, we do pick up that she has a lot of resentment for how the father, who I imagine before he was disabled, was kind of a tyrant and kind of probably interfered with their relationship. And so I think there was some resentment there probably.
Just following up on that, at dinner, she's going through this cringy moment where she didn't really even want to be a part of this promotion with his boss, and I was just wondering if the dinner scene where her nephew
was dining with him ever came up while she's stuck at this table with these people. His boss had gone to dinner and met her nephew supposedly. And I'm surprised that never came back up later.
Never came up in terms of,
Then they have dinner with her. And the last time the wife had seen Nolan was at that restaurant where they were at.
right.
Many things, you didn't bring up a lot of things, you left a lot of things.
Yeah, I never thought, I never felt that needed filling in, but that's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for the fun event. One question. So, his father resented him for being openly acknowledging that he was, his son is gay, right? But Nolan himself, even he finds that out, he says he wants to continue taking care of his father, right? So how does that work out in a dilemma, even though he was, clearly being rejected or not welcomed, that he's being open to his father that he was always gay.
Yeah, I just want to be sure I repeat what you said.
Yeah.
So Nolan, wait, say it again.
Are you asking why would he continue to take care of his
Yeah.
father?
Yeah, I
after
think
being
so, yeah.
rejected?
Oh, good job.
Yeah, why would Nolan continue taking care of his dad when his dad rejected him?
To me, that is one of my favorite moments in the script is when Leo and Nolan are in the motel room. And Leo says, if you're not close to him, why do you take care of him? And Nolan says, because that's what you're supposed to do. And I think Nolan's entire, again, because he can't be who he really is and hides so much and puts on this show of happiness and show of accommodation. I think he thinks if he takes care of his father, that's what you're supposed to do. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter that there's, resentment or anger or that's what you do. So I'm going to do it. Just like I go to work every day at this job that I really can't stand but look like I love it. And like I have this marriage and I love this woman, but I'm not really present in many ways, So I think it's obligation, I think, that he thinks he has to do.
Plus his character, in my opinion, was such a good-hearted person who just, the employee that he was, probably employee of the month, I don't know how many months, probably. He was just a good, all-around guy, and everybody loved him. So I think his wife loved him, his friends loved him, he was lovable. So when it came down to the father relationship, that's just him, his persona. This is what I interpreted. That he just had to be that son who just kept loving his dad no matter what, just like the wife. So I think. Good job.
Sure.
Anybody else? Yes.
This is for Doug, I guess for everybody. My personal favorite line in the movie is, I just want to look at you.
I just wondered.
I just want to look at you. When he tells him that, as if he's a piece of art or something to just be admired. I started to cry. I thought it was so beautiful because, first of all, it was so unexpected, especially for Leo to hear that. And the way he delivered the line, it meant it. He just wanted to look at it. It was so beautiful. The other thing I wanted to say was, throughout the film, we've been talking about Robin's being gay in the movie and blah, blah, blah. Throughout the whole thing, I don't know if I was reading into it too much. I felt like everybody knew. All the characters knew, they just never said it. I think that I was getting the dad knew. I was getting the wife knew. I was getting Robin knew. Everybody knew. But the elephant in the room finally came out and it was like, now we're gonna talk about it. Is that the underlying thing?
I think that's the way it usually is. I think usually when people come out, their families usually know and they just suspect.
Right.
It just hasn't been discussed. I think that's not unusual. And I think, again, as long as Nolan's putting on this, not a show, but he's acting like he thinks he's supposed to act. Again, like with the father, I'm supposed to do this. It's expected of me. I think That's it. And in terms of your line about, I want to look at you, again, if you want to go back and look at some of the reviews of the movie, they were, some of the younger critics, I thought, again, didn't quite understand why there was no sex in the movie, and it's not about that. And I think Nolan is a very honorable guy. First of all, he's married to this person whom he loves and respects. And that isn't what this relationship was about. A lot of it, as I say, was almost like looking back in the past. And of course, the aesthetic value of this young man he's suddenly in front of this beautiful young man, but he's not going to go there,
Well, he's admiring.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think they liked your script.
Anybody else have any?
I just wanted to say, my dad was gay in the 50s, and he had the struggle, and I thought that Kathy, you were my mom, and I'll tell you, you were magnificent. I mean, the way that they loved each other, and you gave that, you just portrayed it so beautifully, and they were both.
Better than an Oscar tonight.
Well, really, you deserved it. You really did. It was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure and a joy to have all three of you here.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for
coming in.
inviting us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. And don't forget to catch Kathy and Teacup. It's a brand new series.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Have you?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank Alan here.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank everybody at the Mary Pickford up there in the projection booth and Isaac over there. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Wonderful evening.